with. No, that's okay. I got it.
Hello, my name is Kexes, and today I am going to basically give my view of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, despite it coming out super long ago. And I've watched it like 4 or 5 times, but I just wanted to do a review of one of my. I know people always say Full Metal Alchemist is top three. We'll save that for the end. So I just want to give my review of it, okay? And just to preface this video, I will try to avoid spoilers because I want this to be an encouragement or encouraging video to get you to watch it if you haven't, or if you stopped, to watch it all the way through. So here we go. I simply just wrote a page down of my thoughts, and then I'm going to elaborate on some of them, and then I'll give you my favorite 3 characters, and we'll go from there. I'm going to begin. So, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Each character has immense value to the story. It is actually no wonder Haikyuu is my favorite show, because if you watch Haikyuu, when they face another team, they basically do like a flashback of the team's like main characters, and like you get story building before the match, during the match, and after the match. So it makes every team matter, and I love that about Haikyuu. So the value of each character allows all the screen time of the characters to have high value, meaning each time you see this character, you see Scar, you see Colonel Mustang, you see Riza, you see Edward, you see Dr. Marco, you see all these different characters, Alex Louise Armstrong, you see his sister. You see all of them doing different stuff at different points of the show, and it all matters. Even conversations with Kimberly, even conversations with the homunculus amongst themselves. It all matters so much. And it is just so well done how they allow all that to just intertwine into one story. It makes all the music transitions from like calm to tense feel way more epic. Like all the fights, all the tense situations where you don't know what's happening while it's happening, always felt amazing. Right? That's why the Hugh scene is so good, because it goes from calm to just crazy so fast. Okay. The interconnectings of the relationship at such a level of immersion that modern animes can't even fathom. Like they can't even fathom coming close to what Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood has established. Like this anime should honestly be in a different league of its own. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is simply just art. It's a legendary masterwork of animation, time, and talent put all into a viewing of it's just available for anyone to view and have an amazing time. It's all there. It hits all the high notes. It's all the specifics, and it just covers everything perfectly. Additional props for having high talent voice actors. Because, originally, if you don't know, there used to be Adult Swim, and Full Metal Alchemist used to come on Adult Swim, and it wasn't Brotherhood, it was just Full Metal Alchemist. So when Brotherhood started airing, it too came on Adult Swim, and one thing that always stuck out to me was the voice acting. The voice acting always sounded so good. Like the voices add so much extra, just amazing storytelling with some of these characters. I know some people don't like Al's voice because it is pitched really high, and to that I just want to argue his character for most of the show is a soul attached to armor. So, you've watched the show, yeah. And so not having jaws and bones, I think it's rational to have a high pitched voice, in my opinion. And I honestly think this anime is one of the few animes that could change someone's life for better, obviously. But honestly, like the Shao Tucker scene is still to this day one of the most gruesome and like shocking. Like it's just how calm it is, how calm everything is, and how they just quickly piece everything together and it escalates. It's still one of the best, most bone chilling scenes I've seen in anime. And I've watched Tokyo Ghoul, and it's crazy. Now, I do have 5 categories, and I'm just gonna go over them. There's the story, there's characters, there's music, there's pacing, and I wrote down art and animations. So as far as story go, 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10. 5 out of 5. The story of this anime is just amazing, front to back. You can rewatch it and always learn something new. And I think that sets the standard for a good story. Like if you can rewatch it and pick up on new details that adds to your like imagination and the pieces you put together yourself, it's an amazing story. Characters, 5 out of 5. Every character in the show does an amazing job. You can just name so many, and each character provided the right building stone for the story to never make it feel like it was a slog. Even Mei, even Ling. Ling's character in the beginning was, you kind of think annoying, lofty, freeloader, but his personality, it didn't develop. That's who he was in the end. So yeah, he was, freeloading basically in the beginning when you first met him, but he had high morals and values the entire time. And his last interaction with Greed actually allowed him, like Ling's character was just so good. Like even in the end, his character still grew because of Greed and just that interaction. Again, I'm avoiding spoilers, so it's kind of hard. I want to say what I want to say, but I'm not going to because it's really worth watching. The music and OSTs in this song, amazing. Fullmetal Alchemist is like the king of just opening anime songs. Like you can just hum a certain song and it will just come to you naturally, right? Pacing. Oh, so I give music 5 out of 5, characters 5 out of 5, right? Story 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5. Pacing. Now, people probably would argue, why is pacing a category worth considering? And I believe pacing is really important in the genre of anime and just watching any medium, cartoons, stories, movies, drama, whatever, any type of genre, whatever, right? Pacing is really important. And I think pacing is like, if you have bad pacing, you normally have a bad story. Like there's too much, like there's not a lot going on here, and then there's too much going on over here, and it messes up the pacing, and then you have to have episodes where characters are basically standing still for 20 minutes. And that feels terrible. Like I am currently watching Demon Slayer right now. Again, I'm not going to spoil it, but the Ashura fight, I don't know his name, the cloudy guy, right? The mist breathing guy. Bro, he was trapped in a bubble for 2 episodes. The season only has 11 episodes. So I think he's trapped in a bubble for like 2.5 episodes. It's nonsense. That's bad pacing. If a character can't move while in combat and it's supposed to be like some death move for 2 episodes, that's bad pacing. But this is about Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood has amazing pacing. And what's interesting, you don't even realize it watching it the first time, or maybe even the second time. The world and story building is evolving constantly in different regions of the world, and they always find interesting ways for characters to travel, interact, and come back and regroup, share information, keep the story paced well so everything feels important. There is not a single episode in this show where it's like nothing happened. It just does not exist. And I think that is just amazing. There's not a single episode where nothing exists. The first episode is such an amazing breath of fresh air. And the first episode is even so significant that Edward reflects back on it happening. The very first 5 minutes, where was it Isaac? I think there's an Isaac the Freeze or something, has that conversation with Ed as he's pursuing him. He tells him, "You don't even know. Do you really even know what the military is doing? You're a dog. Like you don't like you're a military dog. Do you really know what their intentions are?" And Edward just kind of is like, "Whatever." But in the show, he literally takes a moment to stop and self-reflect and remember that. How often does that happen? It doesn't happen often. And that shows how significant the first episode was. I think that's really important. And the last category, like I said, is art and animations. The art style in the show is amazing. The animation's amazing. The fights aren't super long, and I think a show can have really good fights and have very, lackadaisical animation art, long as the fights kind of are where the juice is. So I get that. Like some shows, like shonens, specifically have most of their juice, content, their power, whatever, that pull in the fights. But Fullmetal Alchemist doesn't have that problem. From beginning to end, it is amazing. The animation is very consistent and the characters are really well done. And I'm going to do a bonus segment. So I gave every category 5 out of 5. Right? I'm going to do a bonus segment and then give some thoughts, and we're done. So the bonus segment is I just want to talk about 3 characters that I just really loved in the show. Okay. First up, no surprise, probably Edward Elric. Edward Elric is one of the best protagonists ever. Honestly, he's just one of the best protagonists ever. At no point did he feel super overpowered. He stayed in his character arc. He is very smart. Fundamentally, that is part of his character, being smart, witty, being short-tempered, but being like, his short temperament is like a personality trait more than it is like a crutch for his character. As you notice, when people are referencing him, they mention his height, and then he normally gets angry. But he is still he's probably the second smartest person in the show. When they are at the library, when they meet the girl who was sleeping, I forgot her name. I don't think it was Shepska. It probably could have been, I don't know. But it's the girl with who was in there and she about to suffocate. They studied in that library for 8 days while those 2 guards, remember, were watching them. Lieutenant Maria Ross and I don't remember the dude's name, but Maria Ross and her partner were watching them. Edward studied. Him and Al were studying the whole time. There's other scenes where he is literally studying and reading. In his free time on the train, I'm pretty sure he didn't have a book. He was kind of like staring out the window. But it shows how stoic Edward is. And is he 13 or 12? Whichever. He's basically a kid in this world, killing the military. His character is amazing. And I just cannot stress that enough. He's just an amazing character. I love Edward Elric's character. Next is Greed / Link. I didn't love Greed at first, and I didn't love Link at first, but their interaction when they became Green League, whatever they nicknamed them, Green League, their interactions together combined made for a super fascinating character, especially when, again, I'm avoiding spoilers, but when someone from his previous gang, remember, they were in the sewers, the dude was like, Mr. Greed, and Greed attacked him, and Ling was like, Greed, why are you so hell-bent on being a monster? You know exactly what you just did. Why do you want to be a monster so badly? That's not what he said, but that was the dialogue. And that forced this homunculus to self-reflect. And it showed, that was a turning point in his character arc, right? And it was just how it happened, how you have Ling, who adores his subjects because he's a prince. You didn't know, Ling's a prince. He has very high, at this point it has been established, he has very high value for his friends, his subjects, and so on and so forth. Ling knew that as he was like having that flashback, Ling picked up on that. But Greed still attacked his friend. And that scene was very powerful, and I love that. And the ending scene, I won't spoil it, but that scene with Greed made me tear up, honestly. So it was an amazing scene because I can relate with the greediness, because each homunculus is a 7 deadly sin, and there's like this hubris or this irony to their homunculus form, what their tendencies were and how they died. Like envy interaction with everyone is like ironic. The only person who didn't really get that was Lust. Hers was just like kind of like place. But yeah, Greedling, amazing character. And last but not least, in my opinion, one of the coolest characters to do it, Colonel Roy Mustang. And I think this is, anyone can be like, oh yeah, Colonel Roy Mustang is obviously total badass, war veteran, one of the best powers in the show, one of the strongest characters in the show. Yeah, but it's deeper than that, in my opinion, because maybe not deeper, but there's more reasons to like him. It's the contrast of what he was, what people thought of him, and what he was able to accomplish, and how smart how crafty. As far as, there was a lot of scenes of him playing chess with his upper, I don't know what you would call it, his upper rank, whatever. He was basically playing chess with them. He kept losing. But his movements in the show were always very calculated. And when they weren't with the scenes when it was rain, and they kept basically calling him useless. It was like the running joke. Again, it's the contrast of, we know Roy Mustang is him. We know how strong and devastating he is. His demeanor is so calm and collected throughout the entire show, except for when it's not. You know exactly what scene I am referring to, and it's scenes like that that it seems like that that you think back and you're like, man, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is just you just can't have, like, it's just hard to imagine a world where you watch this and you don't appreciate the "it's a terrible day for rain" scene, where you can't appreciate the Shao Tucker scene, where you can't appreciate the Roy Mustang envy scene, where you can't appreciate the interaction between Riza Hawkeye and her, the amount of loyalty she has towards him, and how concerned he actually is with her well-being. On top of being this, again, everyone sees him as the hardened guy from the Ishval War who slaughtered thousands of people in single blows and strikes. Remember, when they were doing the dental work on Maria Ross, and the doctor was it Knox? I don't remember. Maybe it was Dr. Knox, and he was basically saying he was giving him crap, saying he burned the corpse to a crisp that he could barely even recognize it, just like they did in the war. He was comparing, like, he was alluding to, he used the force he would use in a war against a woman, and everyone gave him that look, and he was just there, stone cold. You know, they explained it obviously later on, but think in the context of them not explaining it. Think of it in the context of it happening when it happens in the story. Everyone at some point was just like, damn, Roy Mustang is him. It's him. And he still managed to just be an amazing character overall. On top of the whole, when they made him give up that precious thing, the irony there I thought was just so, like, it was just beautiful. On top of, again, the whole his dynamic with Riza Hawkeye, and when you think about what he had to do and what he really witnessed, obviously, you know, it's a show, it's a cartoon, so I'm not going to just put myself in some make-believe world of war. But when you see Colonel Roy Mustang and they actually show you those scenes, it's like, it's insane. Hold on. But those are my 3 characters. This is my review of the show. If you made it to this point of the show, this video, I appreciate it. Seriously, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is a must watch. If you have seen it, and it's probably been a few years, you probably could benefit from watching it again. It's just so many parallels, so many, like, easy to understand things happening, but each thing that's happening has, like, a lot of significant and deeper meaning. Like the all is one, one is all. The lessons and the flashbacks they went through when they were on the island together, when Ed and Al were on the island together as small kids, and their teacher. Azumi Curtis, amazing character. Her husband, amazing character. Yoki, not the most amazing character, but they made even a character like Yoki remain significant to the very end. When they were in the mines, Yoki was important then, he was kind of not so important prior, but they managed to make this character relevant, not annoying, and actually contribute to the story. Amazing. Anyways, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, if I have to give it a rating, I would give it a 10 out of 10. Plain and simple. 10 out of 10. Perfect show. And I don't say that lightly. There's probably like 3 shows I can say that too. Maybe 3, but definitely no complaints here. And yeah, that's the video. Thanks for watching. This was my first anime review. 23 minutes, not terrible, but I will do more. I am currently watching Demon Slayer. I'm not gonna do in the future because there's more to watch, right? Like, some shows last way longer than 60 and some are shorter. In the future, I'll probably do arcs, because Hunter x Hunter, I would love to do Hunter x Hunter. I will do it, but it's in arcs, so I would have to do arcs and then a overview of the show. Anyways, take care. Currently watching Demon Slayer, so I'll do Demon Slayer next, and then throw some curveballs in between. Take care. Tell someone you appreciate them, because I appreciate you guys watching. Tell someone you love them, because it's important to share that, and see you in the next video. Peace.